Hello, I'm Aoife. I'm a dietitian, a hypnotherapist, and a mind coach, and I work in weight loss. And today I have my buddy Trisha Norton on the video because we did an Instagram live the other week on feminine energy and weight loss, and we got loads of questions after it and lots of interest. So today we wanted to quickly cover, like Trisha's going to cover like what feminine energy aspects there are, because I think she's a very good example of someone who's studied it a lot and kind of embodies it every day. And then I'm going to quickly explain how those traits really help weight loss in most women, and I would say some men, and that's from my years of experience in weight loss. So Trisha, it's really fun to make a video with you, first of all. And what would you say are the most important aspects of feminine energy? Like, what are the things that you like train and body every day or whatever?
First and foremost, I the first thing I do in the morning is get into my body through movement and really get out of my head and into the presence with whatever is going on inside of my body, which is so important for the feminine energy because there's that deep embodiment, that deep sense of connection to your own intuition and your own sense of self and your own emotions, and that really sets me off for the day because I then tap in every moment.
Okay, so kind of embodiment, kind of checking like a little MOT on how you're feeling physically and mentally. That's one of the important aspects.
Yeah, for sure. Cool. There's that really high emotional awareness that I have all the time where I'm like, okay, I'm feeling like this. That's definitely a feminine thing. I'm feeling like this. Or
because
there's waves,
44 seasons in one day.
Yes, she does know me.
No, I'm not saying you. I'm saying any woman. Like we're a slave to our hormones and menstrual cycle.
But the feminine energy for me is Mother Nature. So we don't look at nature and be like, how dare she reign? It just is, and like that's how I feel about the feminine essences. It's that deep sense of connection to the cycles of life and the cycles of the feminine form and the feminine essence, which she's the river, the river that just flows wherever she needs to go, and that is how I kind of live my life. Is like, okay, I'm feeling like this. What do I need to do to like let it pass through me, or and come back to center, which is always love and that sense of peace.
Good. So that's like honoring the changes of emotions. I suppose non-judgmental observation of the changes. So you're just like witnessing it, witnessing the changes.
And also like helping it move through you, because emotions are just simply energy and motion. And a lot of the times we can shame or judge ourselves or blame ourselves for feeling a certain way when in essence it's just an energy that's moving through you. And if we don't let it move through us through movement or through exercise or whatever else, we let it be stuck. And then when it's stuck, it feels heavy. And when we're feeling heavy, then we don't really like it, and we don't like it, we want to fix it, and then we do things that are not healthy for us, like maybe trying to escape it through drink or drugs or sex or food or whatever. And really embodying that feminine essence really allows us to be free in life. Even though it feels like a lot with the 44 seasons, it's actually much better to be true in your essence and allow what is really happening presently to happen rather than to try and escape it.
Okay, so I think there's already loads there that if every woman was to do, that would really help weight loss, because we've got like just really the checking in of how you feel physically in your body, how you feel mentally, emotionally, and then monitoring those changes and accepting them and letting them move through you and expressing them probably in a healthy way. Yeah, honoring them in a healthy way. Is there any other one?
I think I feel unconditional love is a very feminine essence. A sense of a heart space where it's very accepting and allowing, and it goes with the flow. It doesn't try and control and manipulate. Definitely was something that I used to really, and still
controlling and manipulating. Yeah,
and it's still a pattern that comes up so often for me.
Very tempting to do that as a woman. Super tempting.
And that sense of trust. So when we're in a state of distrust, our bodies get so tight, and we really, really want to like, I don't you don't trust anything, so it's like I'm afraid of everything, so you're braced for contact. Do you know
Yeah.
what I mean? And
Which,
you're like
yeah.
trying to like manipulate, maneuver things to feel like you have some control. But really, what we need to look at is why we have that tension in our body, why we feel insecure, why we feel unsafe,
Mm.
why we have that fear. And again, that's the 44 seasons. You know, it's
Yeah.
like it's okay to feel fear. That's a natural, like it keeps us alive as humans.
Yeah.
But we need to know that actually we're really safe. You know, like I know, I assume everyone is watching this as an adult, so um, you know, we're adults now and we're our own parents. I mean, and that's very much a mothering of the self is a big thing. That sense of nurturing is a deep feminine essence, and really filling any unmet needs, I think, is a really big thing in the feminine essence.
Yeah.
Where she just, a big thing I do for myself is nurture myself and reassure myself. And you know, if I hear those negative thoughts, I'll be like, that's okay, love, we don't need to talk to ourselves like that now.
Yeah.
And it's almost like talking to my inner child. So that feminine essence is the mother essence, is that great nurturing essence too. So we must display that to ourselves first and foremost before we can do that to others. Yeah.
Okay, so there's around a million things there that I think relate to weight loss, because so I'll start off with, so the first one is embodiment. So so how you physically feel. So, and first of all, when we're talking about weight loss, I think weight loss is the absence of stuff that you did to make you overweight. Really, that's, so it's not dieting, because dieting is, you know, has been shown to make people fatter over time. So that's not what you want to do if you want to lose weight. So it's the absence of all the stuff we were doing when we were in the fat mindset or the unhappy mindset about our weight. So first of all, checking in with how you feel physically. So what we do as dieters is that you might be like, oh, well, Friday night's a bit different because I had a hard week and I'm sad and whatever. So like, you know, I'll just eat all of this stuff and I'll just go to the shop on the way home and I'll buy all this stuff and I'll eat it. And it's kind of like, I remember when I used to be doing that, at no point of that did I kind of think like, well, I'm actually pretty well fed after my day. I ate like loads at work and I ate loads of nuts and, you know, whatever else was around, and I'm actually full going home from work. And it was like, that never even came into my awareness, the whole like, how do you physically feel? And maybe you are unique, and maybe you are unique every single day. And so just like not everyone is going to need to pee at 8 a.m. in the morning, not everyone needs to have a celebratory load of calories on a Friday night either. Like, you're completely unique. So really dieting and all the stuff we do when we're gaining weight is really dishonoring how we might emotionally feel at the time and physically feel at the time. So if you physically feel full, that's not really kind to just push down a load of other stuff that's going to just knacker you, basically. Like, do you know, if you're eating, like, if it's just an extra workload, like your body has already got plenty of calories that day, plenty of nutrition, it's like that's just another load of fat and sugar, like, well, whatever the source, even if it's healthy foods, it's still a lot to process. And then emotionally, maybe what you're feeling on a Friday night or whenever it might be in the week when you're tempted to have food is your emotional tank is completely empty. Like, you feel like you've given everything, there's been no reward. And this happens especially for like moms or people who do everything in the house. It's like, where's the me time? Where's the reward? And it's like, they need love, they need support. Like, if their belly's full, food isn't going to fix that hunger. Like, that's an emotional hunger. So us being honest about, like, okay, what is this feeling? Well, my belly's full, so, you know, I need a hug, or I need to take it easy on myself, or I need to like cancel all that boring housework or whatever I was going to do tonight and just take it easy and be nice to myself, because that's my current need. And then oh god, what was the second, third, and fourth one?
Oh my god, there's so much there, but I'm just like, do you mind if I like chip in on that?
I know.
Okay?
Yeah, I do. Yeah. I'd say I'll be here all day.
The thought of you know, when I used to do that, where I used to just be like, I'm now deserving of this food or whatever. But the thought of doing that now feels like dishonoring myself, because I'm like, no, I actually love myself too much to, because I'm going to feel sick tomorrow, you know, or like I'll feel sick in an hour, and I don't like feeling like that, because, you know, it's that awareness of how I feel all the time is, you know, it's not an instant. I know that the reason I'm doing it is not right for me. It's to alleviate a feeling I don't like.
Exactly. And I kind of think now I equate it with neglect, because say if you come home like not hungry, but you're emotionally empty. And so before I would have like either had junky stuff or else tried to take the diet angle of have like a load of rice cakes or apples or some crap that doesn't even taste good. And you know, it's kind of like that's just a double whammy. It's like, okay, so your emotional tank was empty and now you're going to add physical discomfort onto it.
Yeah.
Like that's really mean. And then also it's kind of like you've lost that opportunity to pep yourself up emotionally. And if a mood is low and if you find any other tool or any other way to slightly refill that emotional tank, you're going to have that skill forever. So it's kind of like by just eating and doing the same old rodeo that leads you to the same old place, it's like you're losing an opportunity. So some of us are driven by that, I think, as well, with goals, like the fear of missing out. So it's like you have this potential for a lovely evening where you fill your emotional tank and you feel amazing going to bed, or you have the option of doing the same old, overeating, going to bed feeling full, and not even remotely catering to the emotional needs.
Yeah. So I suppose then how do we begin to become aware of that? You know what I mean? Like how do we differentiate between what's hunger, what's emotional hunger?
I think it's pretty like because even one of my clients was saying this morning, she was like, you know, she likes getting to, I use a hunger scale with my clients, and like 12 out of 10 full is like when I like to feel full. Like if 10 is full, I like to like finish my meal a bit over that. And she's like, yeah, me too, because then I know I'm full, like definitely. And when you think about it, all the signals of our body are like really direct and hard to misinterpret. Like if you really need to go to the loo, you really need to go to the loo. You're not in doubt about that. And if you're very cold, you're very cold. Like it just is what it is. So if you're not sure whether you're hungry or not, you're not. That's it. You know?
Yeah.
And you could try eating something and see how it tastes and see how you feel afterwards. But probably if you're starting off in that condition of not hunger, it's not going to taste that good. It's not going to cure the emotional stuff, and it's not going to physically make you feel any better. So all it is like a distraction and a kind of minor addiction, you could say.
Yeah.
And then basically how that would equate to losing weight over time is for all those evenings, all those times where you get a shitty email and you eat a few biscuits. Say, imagine all of those calories over time. Like that's a huge decrease. And then say any of the times where you ate loads yesterday and now you feel a lot of guilt and shame and self-hatred. In feminine energy, you wouldn't, like, that's the opposite of feminine energy, isn't it? Because the feminine energy is like you're a goddess and like, you know, treat yourself beautifully and, you know, self-love and luxury and pleasure and comfort. And like luxury, pleasure and comfort does not come into like trying to eat your way through emotions or overeating and then like feeling horrible about it, basically.
I mean, like there's times that I definitely overeat. I definitely like feel really sick the next day if I've had like loads of cake or whatever kind of food doesn't really sit well with me. But the last thing you want to do on top of feeling bad is be like, and you are a horrible person for doing that, and now you don't deserve any love or kindness or attention, and actually I'm going to make things worse by depriving you. Yeah. It's like what I need the next morning is like, that's okay. Like you're human, you everything in moderation, it's totally fine. And it's that unconditional love that you give to yourself then, which is like, that's totally fine. Do you know what we're going to do today? We're going to go for a really nice walk, and we're going to create that feeling of like fullness or hunger, or get some fresh air, or do something nice.
Yeah, try out other tools. Yeah, food is certainly comforting and certainly amazing. Like that's why I do my job, because I love it so much, and I want everyone to love it. But like it has its limits. Yeah. Just like getting a massage wouldn't work every single time for every emotion, So
just be compassionate with yourself is so important, because you're doing your best. Like you're always doing your best, and we have this idea that we're meant to be perfect and like always, I don't know, always at this level of humanness. That's just not possible, Yeah. So like the less, I call it the like, shame layer cake, where we have like blame, guilt, so we feel horrible, so then we eat, and then we feel guilty for eating, and then we feel shame, and it's this like layer cake of horribleness like that we're just putting on top of ourselves.
Yeah, it's a ridiculous like distraction from life, because like if you wore uncomfortable shoes yesterday, you wouldn't be kind of like, oh my god, what is wrong with me for picking those shoes? You'd just be like, note to self, that was uncomfortable. And it's the same with food. Yeah, exactly. And you'd be like, oh, how can I like reclaim that comfort I lost last night? How can I wear slippers or comfy shoes today? And it's the exact same with food. It's like, but the kind of thing that mixes us all up is that we're thinking about what we should do and what other women are doing or other men, or how much they're losing or what their body needs, and none of it matters. Because none of it matters.
And there's that tendency to like project fear as well and be like, oh, I'm going to do this all the time and this is my life forever. And it's like, no, like the important thing is you know that at any one moment in time you have the ability to pivot your entire life. Your entire moment. Like really, and that's all life is just the continuous moment that you're in.
And that's certainly what our body is. Like it only has one setting, and that's mindfulness. So it's kind of like you either do need to go to the loo or you don't. Like kind of thing. And then it's kind of like it's the same with food. So it's like you only ever have to act on this moment. It's like if you're super full after last night, it's just a waiting game until until you let your body get through all of that. And then I suppose you hit the nail on the head there about probably like the underlying theme of this whole video is that if there's physical discomfort, don't add emotional discomfort to it. Like if you're physically overfed, don't do the shame and guilt. And then if you're emotionally bankrupt, if you're like really needing love and support and positivity and just to say nice things to yourself, don't feed yourself and make yourself physically discomfort. Because I always say it's like if you had a little girl coming home from school crying, and if you were just like, oh, just shut up and eat these 6 donuts, it's like you would never do that. Like, because it's like that's not helping anything. Like, and that's what we can do to ourselves when we've weight problems.
And just on that, like, you know, apart from the feminine energy, like we have to realize that we're all our little mini Trisha, mini Aoife, they're inside of us, you know, and we don't often recognize that we have a little inner child who's listening to everything we're saying, and that in those moments of discomfort or exhaustion on a Friday night, like really ask her what she needs. And you know, that's so beautiful that, you know, bringing a little 6-year-old who's upset coming in and shoving 6 donuts in her mouth is just like,
it's horrible.
It's actually heartbreaking. I could actually cry. I know it's not 100%. Real, but it's like, don't do that to yourself.
Or imagine if you were like to a 6-year-old, she's like, geez, you were nicer last year though, weren't you? You know, you had a better bod last year. Like, obviously you wouldn't do that for lots of reasons. But, do you know, it's like, that is...
what we're doing
ridiculously mean. It's kind of like, or comparing yourself to, I don't know, 10 years ago or whatever. It's like, what? How pointless is that? Like, that's ridiculous. It's kind of like love yourself in the moment.
You can't go back. Like, what are we doing to ourselves?
Yeah.
Like, it's just needless torture.
It's like, support yourself where you're at. So, I feel like we've covered a lot of them there, and we could ramble on forever.
We do.
But and so many of those things as well obviously aren't really feminine. Just human kindness to yourself. But so I think embodying those traits would actually basically repel all the self-hatred mechanisms, which are kind of like the overeating, the pushing past full, the really not going out and going for a lovely walk or exercise when you genuinely would feel better from it. And see, by allowing all those like independent wants for your self-care, to just honoring them, basically, those individual ever-changing daily needs, so you can feel emotionally and physically very comfortable, that could only lead to your ideal weight. It could only lead to your ideal weight. There is no room for extra calories or discomfort or pushing past full in that world, because pushing past full is uncomfortable.
Just on that as well, because on the exercise piece, I know we're wrapping up, but I spent years doing like really intense exercise, running on roads, wrecked my knees, you know, really intense gymming and stuff. And, you know, now I really just love walking and yoga, you know, and it's like,
it works for you.
It's not even about overeating as well. It's about literally knowing what your body needs, not just food wise, but, you know, movement wise. It's so important. So like, whatever works for you, just honor what your body needs.
Yeah.
physically, emotionally,
Yeah.
expressively. Like, it's so important that there's nothing wrong with what you need, and what you need will evolve too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And like I like playing with my nephews and pretending I'm exactly the same age as them, and so just
Oh.
whatever they're doing, I do. And then that's a hell of a lot more fun than when I was literally in the gym in London listening to that Britney Spears song "You Better Work, Bitch," and I was like,
So mean.
it was so mean. And I'd like plan to do 30 minutes exercise every day, and for every day I missed, I'd have to bulk do it all on a Saturday.
Oh,
And I'd
so
like
intense.
drag myself to the gym on a Saturday
Yeah.
listening to "You Better Work, Bitch."
Yeah.
And then like crawl out of there after like 10 minutes, just like so low energy. Like I
Yeah.
couldn't work out because I had been so mean to myself. So
Just the
you
gentleness.
just not that.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is that the gentleness needs to flow through how you speak to yourself, how you feed yourself, and how you move yourself.
Yeah. Okay, I think we're done. If you got to the end of this, thank you so
Yeah.
much for watching, and like and subscribe to either of our channels, or join us on Instagram, Trisha Norton and her space. Which one? Trisha Norton.
Norton.
And ifadeen.ie. So thank you so much. Bye bye.